Okay, this is interesting. I'm going to try it again. For some reason, when I put this up the first time, it didn't show it. I think there might be a mismatch here between the OBS software and YouTube. But let's see if the image will come up. Okay, there we go. That's strange. There's a barbecue place. Yeah, for some reason I think there's a mismatch. I'm able to... Oh, I know what it is. I think I know what the problem is. You mean it actually works? That's hard to believe. Huh. So you can actually see me. This is amazing. Ah, there we go. Are you there? Okay. Okay. What do you know? So it is working. I wonder if it's an internet issue. It may not be YouTube. It may be my internet provider. This is very strange. Huh. Okay. Well, this is actually running the OBS software. So if I put an image, can you see the image? Can you see the picture of the barbecue place? Okay, let's see. Does anybody see that? I seem to have some kind of interference on my microphone. Okay, so you do see the picture. Are you getting any background noise from the microphone? Well, that's good. Well, this has actually turned out to be a pretty good day because for some reason it's a resolution. The resolution is the key with this OBS. I had to turn down the resolution because I guess my computer is way too old. Now, I don't think I'll be able to show a YouTube channel, but okay. It's not loud. Okay. I wonder if I can adjust this. Let's see. So it's pretty quiet. Is that what you're getting? I can adjust the mixer manually. Hold on. This is a great experiment. I'm glad that I tried this. How is that? Does it sound any better? Hopefully. I've got it maxed out. Hopefully it's not clipping or anything. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to be making some changes to my audio setup. I don't know if you've ever seen my old videos. Good morning, Gregory Smith. I'm going to go ahead and set up the way I used to. Now, this is a condenser mic, so it has to use a mixer that has, yeah, it sounds overdriven. That's the thing. It has to use a phantom power. Let me see if I can adjust this. Hold on. I'm working with some pretty old hardware here, but I'm going to make some improvements. I have some ideas. The background sounded like a light wind. Yeah, see, your mic sounds like you're in space. I've got some issues here that I have to deal with. Now, what I'm going to do, I actually found my original microphone. I don't know if anyone is familiar with the Shure SM, what is it? No, not SM. It's 55S. You ever seen one of those? People call it the Elvis mic. I found it, but it has a problem. It's got some interference in it. I'm going to try to fix that. When I used to do my videos years ago, I always used a Shure 55S microphone. So when I do that, I have another mixer that I found at the dump. I'm going to try to get that working. And I'm going to try to get the sound where it's good again. So it's only a matter of time. But this is an experiment. All I wanted to do is verify that I can run the OBS software, which I can. And the scenes are active, and the sources are active. I'm going to work on this. This is something I want to do because I can make different scenes, audio input capture. But I'm glad that we have people here. Now, it doesn't show me how many are actually online. So what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to set up another screen, probably off another computer, so that I can watch my video. And then I'm going to try to set up a monitor because I know over here I sound okay. When I talk into this, it sounds okay, although it seems like it's only on one side. Let me see, maybe this is loose or something. Let's see. Nope, it's good. The sound is good on my end, but who knows what's happening when it goes through the internet. I hear the static. That's actually coming from my mixer. The mixer I have is damaged, so I'm going to swap it out for sure, but what I may do is take it apart. I may have a bad capacitor, so I might have to fix it. I'd like to get another one, but again, I don't have money to spend on the YouTube channel. This is sort of a hobby for me, and I think it's kind of fun. Maybe some of my subscribers will find me some better equipment, or they'll give me some hints where I can improve it. Remember, this is not my channel. This is your channel. You are the ones that are able to help me out. You can give me some ideas on what I need to do, and that's okay. Your mic sounds in space shows 9 here watching. Well, that's great. Flux capacitor. You know, I am an electronics engineer, so I can fix this problem. And I know the problem is in the mixer. If you listen closely, you can hear it. If I turn up the mixer, you can hear the sound. Hold on. You hear that sound? That's what it is. That's interesting. Okay. I apologize for any inconvenience, but it seems like I actually found another problem. When I went over there and I disconnected the line, it appears that the main audio cable is also failing. And it wasn't Milton that did it, so I don't know if a rodent ate it before, but it actually sounds pretty good on my end. Hopefully you can hear it as well. It should sound better. But the static is in the background. That is from the mixer, and I am going to fix that. Let's see. Oh, we got a few people here. Gregory Smith. Hey. Target Prime Rib. Wow, we got some people coming back. Nice. Lori's Carnivore Story. I have a cheap mixer and a dynamic mic. I'll be posting my first video tomorrow using it. I got to check that out. Quite the experiment for sure. That is correct. The thing is, I also have... The mixer has issues. The reason I had it is because I wanted to do a call-in show. Now, obviously today you have streaming software like StreamYard, but that's another expense. I'm not going to pay $50 a month, money I don't have when I already have to pay almost $50 a month just for internet. So, but the internet I use for many things. I'm going to try, see if I can get a cheaper internet, but there's not much competition here. It's kind of limited. They are putting in some of these 5G towers, so they may have a wireless fixed point internet in the future. We'll see. But I'm definitely going to try to fix that. But in the meantime, I like using stuff that I have control over. I mean, obviously, I have to use YouTube to get out. But I would rather have an on-site mixer, just the regular hardware, the microphone and all that stuff. So when I do a call-in, what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to I used to use a software that was Linux-based. I think it was called Jitsi or something like that. I've used that. But the best thing would be a call-in. And what you could do, you could send me a text message, or you could call in on my phone, and I'll pick up the phone, and then what I'll do, I'll activate the mixer so you can hear, you could do it this way, but that's pretty primitive. And then if you want to call somebody, and so on, you could do that. But I have these devices that'll do it on the phone. So what I could do, I could have you call in and ask me a question, talk, whatever you want to do. It'd be like an old-fashioned radio show, like you would years ago. Now the problem is I have multiple lines, but they're all different numbers. I don't have the ability to put you on hold. So what you'll have to do, you'll have to call in. And then what I'll probably do, since I don't have that many people on my stream, you can take your turns and call in, have a little chat, and then hang up. And also what I could do, I could put your image up there if you want, and then just put it up here in the stream, have like a little picture or a picture of a duck or whatever it happens to be, and then that's it. So I'm really glad that the OBS is working, and it's hard to believe with all the videos I watched on how to use OBS, no one ever mentioned how the resolution can cause so many problems. But I guess when you have as old a computer as I do, I don't know how I look. Hopefully I don't look too bad. Then again, I don't think I ever looked that great. But let me see, video capture device, and yeah, so that's pretty good. The resolution is 960 by 540. It has to be on the custom setting. And then I put the video format to any. If I use the default settings for OBS, it does not work. So that's a good thing. But the other thing too I want to do is to be able to move the chat window into the screen. I think I can also do that with the OBS. Once I get the scene set up, there's several things I want to do. But at least I know it'll work. That's the main thing. So I can set the time, and then I can do this, and it works out pretty well, so that's good. Picture is good, audio is still overdriven. Well, I can turn that down. Let me do that. Turn that down over here. Okay. How is that now? Is it any better? So what I'm going to do, once I get the studio part set up in the other room, I'm going to have the soundproofing. Although I don't think the sound in here is that bad. I've been on a lot of YouTube channels that have a lot of echo. It seems like my sound is actually echo-free because I'm surrounded with so much stuff. The wood paneling is a lot better than drywall. The ceiling, there's a stepped ceiling. There's actually some insulation on the side. And the microphone that I have is a condenser mic. So if I go back, you have to get really close to it to get a really good sound. So I'm kind of happy about that. Anyway, thank you so much. I'm glad that we were able to do this. So getting knocked off on the earlier stream was actually a blessing in disguise. I had no idea I could get this to work. I'm over here complaining that my computer is a piece of junk, is too old, and it actually works. All you have to do is adjust the settings, and you can see the picture. Now, I have a lot of images, but I haven't set them up yet. The only one that I had is like I was talking about earlier with the barbecue place. And you can see, look, this is old because, can you see, I don't know if you can see the mouse cursor, maybe not. Does anybody see the mouse cursor on this? I guess not. But anyway, if you look at this picture, if you're right here, you can see how old the car is right there. Over here, you can see the phone booth. You can see the Bell System symbol. That's pre-1969 or whatever it is. And then over here, you can see they have a big neon sign. Now notice, this building that you see over there is a flat roof. It's a small building, but look at how big the sign is. They got the ventilator and the air conditioner on top. That's very, very typical. Yeah, when you're about 8 inches away sounds best. That's correct. That's one of the good things about the microphone. Now, what annoys me a lot with YouTubers, a lot of them use a lav mic, but then they hold this silly thing in front of their face, and it really drives me crazy. But this condenser mic, I'm going to be using, instead of this, I want to use my Shure S55S mic. I have, if you've ever seen it, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of times when you have people on the internet, they'll show that. But, yeah, anyway, let me get this. Yeah, let me move this over a little bit. There we go. I just moved my camera. Now I can display a picture, and I can show you, myself. You can see my ugly face and my obsolete equipment. But the thing is, what I've noticed with a lot of the YouTube channels, do you have people over there that they have hundreds of thousands, millions of subscribers, and their audio isn't that great? They're inside of a building with a lot of echo. I always believe that audio is important, especially on these sort of podcasts, because people don't watch my videos to look at me, because I'm not anything to look at. They would rather listen. It's like me when I'm working. I find it very important to be able to listen to the person. And I grew up with radio. So this is really nice for me. I can listen to people as they talk. I think that's a great thing. All right. So anyway, we'll look at this picture. You can see here they have aluminum awnings over the front of the place. This is the kind of barbecue place that I used to love. Look at the pile of wood over there by the side of it. And I find barbecue places irresistible. If I ever see one that looks like that, I'm going to have to stop there. And even if they serve some duck food, I'll try to get just a steak, because I have a weakness for barbecue places. So if I was going to have a restaurant, and you can see over there, over in the front of the business, now of course I can't overlay this, but if you notice right over the phone booth, there's a chimney sticking up. That's probably where the barbecue pit is. Sometimes they put it in the front, a lot of times it was in the back. And of course in the back they have a ventilator, so they may be cooking there as well. But that's an example of a barbecue place, and by the design, I would say that picture was taken early 60s. So, that's it. Okay. We got some more comments, so that's great. That's great. Nice skin, Rick. All that fat, protein, natural collagen, and fermented dairy, yes. And remember, I'm going to be 57 in a couple of months. I think I look pretty good for 57. If I saw a guy that looked like me, and he told me he was 57, I would say he's good looking. Because the problem is, there's a lot of good looking people in their 20s. But when you get to be 50-something, it's kind of hard to do. And what I like about my looks compared to other people, I'm skinny, but it's like my mother used to say, my face is not skinny. I've never had a skinny face. You can look at me, and I from what I've been told, if I would have eaten the duck diet, I would probably be very overweight because of my genetics. My dad always struggled. I mean, he never became overweight, but he definitely had the fat face and held a lot of body fat. My family tends to hold a lot of body fat. I'm one of the leanest there. I don't have any muscle, but I'm quite vascular for somebody that's skinny, but I don't look sickly. And my ribs don't stick out. And my face I don't look like I'm sunk in. A lot of the vegans that I know, when they get to their 50s, they have this sunk in look. The other problem is their voice begins to change. I've noticed a lot of times, people that are unhealthy as early as their 40s, their voice may change. One of the first changes I've noticed is their ability to speak decreases. They start to use a lot of ums and ahs, and they have to pause. And they don't pause for effect. They pause because they lose their thought. I call it the Joe Biden effect. You might have a thought that you're trying to make, and then you forget it. And this is very common for people my age. My friends are all doing it. In fact, a friend of mine I've known since junior high, not only does he look old, but his voice is getting weaker. I can hear it in him. And he's on the low-fat diet. Very little meat, low fat. And I keep telling him, he lost a lot of weight. He used to be overweight. But it's like you get sunk in. Your face is like, you're sunk in. And I'm really happy because I don't have thin skin yet. I'm still, I still get cut all the time, and I'm fine. The only defect I actually have this little lump here that I got, and this came when I was on the plant-based diet. It's that, what do they call that, lipoma, I think is what the doctor called it. The lipoma, where you get this lump that develops right here. It's like a soft lump. It grew and then it stopped. But it doesn't hurt. I also have a hernia from a bad car accident, which is down there, and it pops out from time to time, but it doesn't hurt. So I got bad sinuses, hernia, lipoma, all this stuff. I used to have one on my back, lipoma, but it eventually just burst and went away. And I had one on my head when I was a kid, when I was on the regular diet. I used to get those. That's something that our family gets a lot of, and thankfully I don't. But I do believe that the carnivore diet has helped me tremendously, and I think it was a really good thing. Well, anyway, let's see. Now, yeah, the only bad thing about this is you don't have a count of how many people are on the stream, but it is working. I'm actually kind of impressed, and it says I'm only using 31% of the CPU. I have 0 drop frames. Internet is only 4 point something meg. I think the other thing that it could be is that my internet is a little unstable, and I think things do change, but that's okay. So, there's nothing wrong with how you look, according to Lori's Carnivore Story. Yes, your voice is definitely your finest asset. I agree with that 100%. And just like some other people say, face made for radio. That is correct. Gregory Smith. LOL. That is me now. I'm worried, Rick. Okay. Yours will improve, so Thomas. I'm sure it will. Does that mean I'm becoming Joe Biden? Please say it isn't true. No. You're new to the diet. You need to just kind of go with it. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. Worry makes you sick. Try not to worry. Yes, Lori, you are correct. Thank you, Lori and Gregory Smith. Oh, there you go. You know, it's really, in my opinion, worry is a bad thing. And I got a picture of myself, if I can find it. Now, you always think of me of how lean I am. You know, I don't have six-pack abs, but I have some definition. But there's actually a picture that a friend of mine took of me when I was taking care of my mom. I was super stressed out. I'd been in another car accident. Everything was a disaster. And you can see that even I put on quite a bit of body fat. Now, my weight didn't really change. I weighed about maybe 210. I generally weigh between 190 and 200 because I'm a toothpick. But I think I got up to 210. And if you look at me, I was wearing a t-shirt and pants, but you can see that I had extra abdominal fat, extra fat in other places. So I was actually storing more body fat, even though I was still eating the carnivore diet. So what was the difference? Well, getting 4 hours of sleep every night couldn't help. My mom would keep me up to 3 in the morning and then wake me up at 8. My mom didn't sleep at all when she was sick. She'd sleep during the day, which was really annoying to me because I was trying to do things, and then she'd sleep, but then only for like an hour at a time. So let's say that my mom fell asleep, and I tried to do some work around the house. Well, if I made noise working on the house, it'd wake Mom up. Then she'd yell at me. If I used any kind of paints or chemicals or anything, it would annoy her, and then she'd wake up. So I couldn't do anything. That's one of the reasons why the place got to be so run down. All I could do, really, was work inside the house, work in my shop, work in the backyard. Couldn't do any jobs. Every time I tried to do a job, within a couple of hours, Mom was in panic mode. And that started around 2017 when we had the hurricane. So from 2017 to 2020, I had no life whatsoever. And I put on a lot of body fat. The interesting thing is, after my mom died, within 3 months, my body had reset to its old weight. In fact, it overshot. So what happened, where I normally weigh 190 to 200, it went down to 178, despite the fact I was eating as much as ever. It was really weird. So my weight went down to 178. And then it slowly built back up to 195, which is where it averages right now. And again, I'm going to get the picture. I can put it on here because now I know that it'll work. And anytime I want, I can put a picture on here, and then I can talk about it. That's good. Of course, I can move the camera if I need to. That's fantastic. So in a way, I'm glad I got cut off from the live stream and, just said, let me try it and see. All right, so we got more comments here. Does that mean I am becoming the junk I am? Worry about it makes you sick. Thank you, Lori. I used to be an expert worrier. A dag near killed me. Then I discovered meditation and let it all go. Some say let go and let God. That works too. Nice to see you streaming again. Yes, Up Syndrome, I'm streaming again. This is a test. This is not a formal stream. I'm going to end pretty soon because I want to do some heart attack chicken. But at least now I know that I can get this OBS Studio to work. It was all in the resolution. I had too high of a resolution on the video and it caused it to crash. So that is fantastic. That's great. I'm going to have to set up a file folder and make up some scenes, and then that way I can show you some of the things I want to show you. So this is fantastic. I'm actually happy. You know what I've noticed? This is just me. Whenever I run into problems and I get frustrated, I have a choice. I can give up and say screw it and whatever. Or I can say, you know what? I'm just going to do it. If it fails, it fails. And believe it or not, more than half of the time, what I think is going to fail succeeds. So you can sometimes overthink these things. And I think that's very important because it's, we're adaptable. One of the things about us humans that separates us from other animals is that we can plan ahead and we can adapt. Other animals can't. This is why a lot of times when the environment changes, many species will die off because they can't adapt. But we can. We can see the problem. We can work around it. That's why we are the number one predator on the earth. We are it. Even though we're not the strongest, we're not the biggest, we don't live the longest, but we are the ones that control this whole situation. Okay. Worry makes you sick. Try not to worry is a general rule. Thank you. I used to be. Okay. Nice to see you up streaming again. I read that. I worry about an apocalypse happening, and the only thing to survive is veggies and Twinkies. I worry about that too. I've had to give up bacon, butter, eggs. What else am I going to have to give up? Am I going to have to live on iguanas and ducks until they run out? This is why we need to take action now, before things get any worse. We've let this go for way too long. We need to get with the people that produce our food, and we need to be involved. Even if we have to work with them, we have to make this work. Because the reality is, the earth itself hasn't changed that much, other than the damage that humans have done. We can still find animals to eat. We can still find places to live. Okay. If you have issues with lag, reduce the frames per second from 60 to... Okay, 60 is useless for these kinds of videos. Let me check that. I think I had it on 30. But let me see. Frames per second. Yes, 30. I have it on 30. Match output frames per second. It's on 30, so you're right. That's good. Okay. At least you're kidding. Some actually live life worrying that way. Yes, I know. I got the Twinkie thing from an episode of Family Guy. Yeah, Twinkies are nasty. I didn't even know what they were until a few years back, and then I looked at it and I'm like, wow, this thing is garbage. I always think Twinkie was like a reference to some young, not very smart person. It's defaulted at 60 for some reason. It's definitely on 60. I don't know how it could be because I just looked at, right here, I looked in the settings, and it says, auto select, it says 30. Let me just do it again to make sure. I don't know. It still says the same thing. Oh well. That's okay. One way or the other it'll work. It hasn't cut me off. It hasn't crashed the computer. And the CPU is still about 30.8%. It's not changing. Jonathan, it's actually interesting because when I look at the corner, it says 30.00 / 60.0 frames per second. So 60 must be the default, and then it's on 30. Weird. Okay. Well, I ask you, I don't like to bother you too much because you got so much going on. I'll figure it out one way or the other. but I do take suggestions. That's good. I can only get things on sale, cheap. I don't care for pork or chicken, but the Lion pork chops was cheap this week, so I have it for breakfast, and ground beef. Yeah, that's it. And I'm pretty much out of chicken. And I'll tell you one thing. Hopefully they have something on sale, because when I got the sale papers, there was nothing on sale. The sales they have are a joke. I do have some seafood. I have some beef. I have lots of beef because I saved that. And I have some frozen chicken, which I'll probably have. One freezer is full, the other one's half empty. So I have enough. And I have a turkey that's defrosting, so I'll probably make heart attack turkey, and that's it. Okay. You usually can't change an OBS until you're off air anyway, yeah. And it works. The quality is good and the sound is the same. It works. It's set to scale up if your connection system... Yeah, that's what it is. So what he's saying is that the default is 60, but because the system can't do it, then it's set to 30. That's fine. That's good. It hasn't crashed. That's all I care about. The resolution seemed to do the trick. So anyway, this opens up a lot of possibilities. Now what I'm going to do with the next videos that I make, once I get the little studio thing set up, I have the other mic that I want to use. I have another mixer. The problem is I can't use the current mixer because this is the only one that has phantom power. And phantom power is the 48 volts that powers a condenser mic, which is what I'm using. I like condenser mics because of their directionality. Plus, I got this one either from a flea market or yard sale, and I know it was cheap. I think it was less than $10. And I've had other mics I found in the trash pile. But my best looking mic, in my opinion, is the Shure SM series. And you'll notice the arm, the boom that I use is old. It's an old from the 60s Atlas Sound, and they have this straight rod. Now with the newer mics, the newer booms, I say, you can't use it with the old Shure mic because the plug and the threads are right next to each other. So if you try to plug an XLR cable in there and you try to thread in one of those boom mics, it won't fit. So you have to have an extension that sticks it out. Most of the podcasters and streamers, they use the SM, I think it's SM57, or what is the Shure mic that's black? I forget what it is. Something like that. It's some overpriced mic that they have. It has basically the same capsule as the other Shure mic, but it's longer, it's bigger. It has like a cover, and then the XLR port comes around the top. I've seen them. I've seen a lot of YouTubers use them and podcasters, but I thought the 55S was more of my style. I love that Shure mic. I also like the Unidyne B, which I've used in a lot of my interviews because the Unidyne B is sleek, but I broke the mic clip for it, so I'd have to hold it. But I ordered some new mic clips a few days ago. They should be here in the next day or two, and then I'll be able to use that on the boom. This is the only boom that I have, although I do have a desktop stand, so I use that as well. But again, I love that 50s, 60s look. This is the reason why I kind of like living here. Now, when I do move, most likely I'll have to build a brand new house because finding one that'll meet my specs is impossible unless I'm fortunate enough to find an old one. But that's going to be really hard to do. But if I do build another house, don't worry. That 50s and 60s aesthetic will be built in because everything that I build is the old way. I will have the plaster walls. I will have the ceiling tiles. I will have, the paneling. Instead of this cheap plywood paneling, I'll use real pine paneling that I'll make myself with my router table, tongue and groove. I'll have my bookshelves and books and all the old stuff. So that's good. Okay, now let's see what else we have here. Oh, I'll be watching the sale paper. That's good. Today is my fasting portion of my ADF. Tomorrow I have 2 steaks defrosting. There you go. Now again, Thomas has different goals than some of us. Some of us carnivores have goals to gain mass, or you could be one of the ones that want to lose weight. You have people that have metabolic issues. Their blood sugar's out of control. They have, circulation problems or whatever. So the carnivore diet is not one size fits all. You have to tailor the diet to your needs, and you may be one of them, like the guy I was talking about, what is he called, Frugal Prepper, who has added fermented vegetables. This is no problem. So that's it. All right, let's see. Today's my fasting portion. Awesome prime rib. I was sad, was depressed. I think one of the old World War microphones would look cool. Yes, they use the SM57. Okay, performs it. My NT1 outperforms it. Yes, great for podcasting, but mine is multifunctional. Well, that's great. Rick, you could get one of those guys that hangs around the hardware stores. They're guaranteed to build you a perfect house and live in it for you. I'm sure they could. And OC says, why don't you blow your nose, Rick? Because it won't do me any good. If I blow my nose, it's just going to produce more. I find it's better not to blow the nose. If I want to get rid of the sniffling, I need to go outside, spend time in the outdoors. If I make videos, I'm going to have to just edit that out because there's no way that I can get rid of that. Okay. Now, again, my house is full of mold. It's old. Plus, it's getting around lunchtime, so I'm getting hungry where I want to have something to eat. I notice a lot of the carnivore channels, they stress not to undereat on the carnivore diet. That is not something I would ever do. I've seen some other YouTubers talk about adding carbohydrates to their carnivore diet, and of course we all know the most famous one, old fruity boy himself, Paul. He does that. So that's one thing. And speaking of carnivores, I don't know if you've noticed, but my little carnivore has been extremely tame. Look at that. Want to say hi? There we go. Look at that sweet little thing. There's my baby. Yes. You're such a good little kitten. He's like, why are you disturbing me? He's actually quite gentle now. He's getting to the point where he's settling down. Now, obviously, if he knows what's coming in the future, he'll probably hate me because he does have his little nuts and he's going to have to be fixed. I don't want him mating with the other cats and squirting all over the house. So getting fixed is on the schedule. But when I have a cat, I like to let them mature before they get fixed. That way they can put on some very nice, nice size. I want my cat strong and healthy. I want a super cat. I don't want some little fur ball that does nothing. I want a cat that's tough, that can beat up on other cats and chase away, kill rodents, whatever needs to be done. That's the kind of cat I want. He's cute. Okay. Rick, even some cheap fun apps have software which lets you auto-cut pauses in videos. Might be something to look at. InShot Video does it, I think. I will definitely take a look at that. I used to use a program called Pitivi, P-I-T-I-V-I, and years ago I used Windows Movie Maker. And of course, I've used the Apple program. It's not very good, but it works. It's, what is that called? iMovie, I think it is. So I've used that because it usually comes on some of these old cell phones, but the iOS I have is too old. It won't download it anymore, so can't use that. But, yeah, okay. I have InShot. That's where feature I could use it. That is correct. And I could also audit the audio to get rid of the little sniffles that I have. I know a lot of YouTubers, they have to do a lot of jump cuts because they must be pausing. They must be going, ooh, whatever. That's the way it is. But, no one's perfect. I mean, if you want perfect, you could use a machine. You could use the AI. But, of course, AI sometimes says carnival diet instead of carnivore diet. They do some pretty weird things. AI has a way of messing up when you think they shouldn't. But anyway, okay. Sweet Milton. Yes, he is a sweet cat. I love my cat. But anyway, it's almost noon. So I figured, I don't know how many people are here. I don't know how you can display the amount of people that are here. But what I'm going to try to do, I have another monitor. Now, I don't think I want to, I probably could. I could try to set up YouTube so that it's on the other monitor and see how much it takes out of the computer. It seems like we're running CPU of 28.5%, which is good. It doesn't show how much memory I'm using. It shows 0 drop frames. It actually seems to be working better with the OBS than it did with just YouTube in itself. Let's see. I saw a Wicked Cat. Oh, you got 19 people? Okay. I saw a Wicked Cat changed for the better by giving it raw meat. Personality transformation. Well, my cat eats raw meat on a regular basis. Shows 19 on my side. Well, that's good. You know, obviously, we got up over 50 and that was it. My channel is never going to be one of those that has hundreds of subscribers because I don't have the flashy graphics. I don't have, you know, I'm not young enough to be one of the elite YouTubers, and there's just no way. There's no way that people are going to pile up to watch me. Okay, is WD-40 overrated? Yeah, it costs too much. You could simply get wintergreen oil and mix it with diesel and accomplish the same thing. No problem. Okay. Well, that's good. Even have some cheap. Okay, I'm going to have to look into that. I'm going to play around with this OBS now that I got it to run on the computer. I'm going to also try to use it to make a couple of videos. So I'm going to try to post more videos. Now, again, I haven't really posted many videos because I haven't had a lot of time. I've been really busy. But now work has kind of died out. You know, my work is dried up mostly. So I'll have more time. Hopefully, I'll be able to do that. And that's good. So what I'll do is make videos on different subjects. These ultra-long live streams are probably not that productive. It's just a place for us to get together. And there is a plugin somewhere that I can make the comments come up. I need to find that. I had it at one time. I don't know if it's in one of these OBS plugins, but if I can get it to work, I'll do that. And that way I can select the comment, because right now, if I select the comment, there's no way that I can put it in here. Let me see. It just goes through YouTube. So, oh, wait a minute. I got channel activity. Okay, that's interesting. It'll actually, okay, it links directly to YouTube. Interesting. I guess they integrated OBS. Okay, Lizzie says, you're pretty smart. The right group, the right crowd will come and stay. Yes, they will. And again, you have to realize, I'm 56, I'll be 57 very soon. How many 57-year-olds do you know that have a full head of hair with almost no gray, that can speak clearly, that although I have a sinus issue, I don't sound too bad. My skin looks pretty good. I don't use any kind of skin cream. I don't use any kind of hair treatment. All I do is wash myself with homemade soap. I eat meat. I drink water. I was eating eggs. I'm not anymore. And, you know, you have to be relative. You say, look, find me another 57-year-old. Now, there's some 57-year-olds that look good. There's a channel that I subscribe to. He doesn't have many subscribers, but I'm trying to remember what his name is. Oh, let's see. But he's always talking about longevity. I think he's 58. And I just can't remember his channel name. I guess I'm having brain fog. It'll come to me eventually, but I think he has an Italian name. I'm trying to remember. If I looked in my YouTube comment, I could find it. But, you know, this is a guy that he trains people and talks about stuff like that. And, you know, he looks good. Why can't I not remember his name? Interesting. But anyway, so he's 57, but he admits he colors his hair. Of course he colors his. I think his name is Andrew Colasco or something like that. I think his name is Andrew Colasco. And he has a few hundred subscribers. I guess he was a trainer for some celebrities. And he looks good. I mean, from his neck down, he looks like somebody in their 30s. He has a really good physique. But if you look at his face, you can see that he's definitely older. You know, his hair is colored, but he looks really good. This guy's healthy. And that's what most people should aspire to. When you're in your 50s, you're not really over the hill. You're going to look old. I mean, for a 50-year-old to want to look like a 20-year-old is absolutely stupid. It's impossible. It'll never happen. Entropy assures that. If you go and get plastic surgery, you're going to look like a freak. And what I'm trying to explain to people, especially with us guys, there's nothing wrong with looking old if you look old in a dignified way. You may have wrinkles, you may have scars, you have all that, but if your body is solid and you have a good physique and you're mobile, you can get up on your own, you can work, you can do your own thing, you're in good shape. In fact, a person who would be, like, for example, Sean Baker. We all know Dr. Sean Baker. I think he's better than 99.9% of 20-year-olds. That's just what I believe. I mean, look at the guy. Look at the energy he has. He's probably one of the only people my age that could outrun me. That's what I'm thinking. Although, for how long, it's hard to say. Because since I'm lighter, I think I have more endurance than he would for a long run. But I've seen him run on the treadmill doing sprints. He's impressive. And the thing is, even Dr. Baker, although he promotes his medical practice, his medical club, which isn't cheap, he doesn't sell any supplements. And, you know, he's a living example of what the carnivore diet can do. Now, he may drop dead tomorrow of a heart attack. And if he does, that's fine. Because that's what the heart attack diet is all about. But I have a feeling he'll be around for quite a while. And remember, he's had serious injuries. He had to give up his jiu-jitsu because of the injuries. I think he has some spinal injuries, he's shoulder injuries, he got a lot of injuries, and yet it doesn't stop him because he didn't damage himself to the point where he couldn't recover from it. So if you're a guy in your 40s or 50s and you're saying you're over the hill, you need to wake up and realize you're not over the hill. You may have put yourself down in the hole, but you might be able to climb out. Now, you may not be able to get to what you were when you were in your 30s, but hey, if you could be what you were in your teens or 20s or half of that, you're still doing good. Because again, a lot of the 20-somethings are not that healthy. I've actually been bike riding with some younger guys, and they wear out before I do. I've been going up and down stairs, and they wear out before I do. So you don't have to be young to be healthy. You can be old and be healthy. If you're 70 years old, you're not going to be as mobile as you are when you're 30, obviously. But you can still be, I know a guy that's almost 80. He lives out in the country, out in rural Nebraska, and he's still doing woodwork, and he's still doing his thing. You talk to him, he still sounds very coherent. You know, he's about the age of the former president, and he's like totally different. He's not on the carnivore diet, but he does eat a lot of meat. But he eats meat, and he eats locally sourced produce. He has his own garden. And he's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. So, and even Dr. Sean Baker, if you've ever watched his videos, and the vegans use that against him. You have that idiot Michelle the vegan criticizing him. I saw a video today where he said, well, Sean Baker says you don't have to eat the carnivore diet. Well, that's because Sean Baker is not a brain-dead, brainwashed vegan idiot that says that, you know, if you're not a vegan, you're an idiot, and then laughs at you. You ever watch Michelle the vegan? He's always laughing when carnivores talk about the success they've had. You don't see carnivores laughing at vegans if they have success. It doesn't happen because carnivores have nothing to prove. We carnivores, we do it because it works for us. We don't have to prove to anyone. I have a friend that is considering carnivore diet. I told him, don't go directly into carnivore. Just ease into it. Eat more meat. Eat whole foods. You like fruit? Continue to eat fruit. But try to be more seasonal. Think about fruits that grow here and when they're in season and eat that. He likes avocados? Eat avocados. So I'm encouraging him, and I can already see the improvement. He's got type 2 diabetes, but his A1C has been coming down. It was over 11. Now it's 6.2. It's coming down, and he's not on the carnivore diet. So I try to tell everyone, you don't have to eat like Rick to be healthy. But find out what works for you. It's very important. And don't accept the fact that because you're getting older that you're over the hill and that's it. So that's what it is. Okay. Thank you, Rick. You're the best. Keep going. Well, thank you, Aaron, for saying that. Lizzie says, right, I'm 43, don't want to date anyone under 50. Well, there you go. And you know, us older guys are not all bad. Some of us are actually pretty good. He hurt his neck in jiu-jitsu class. Yeah, I remember that. See, so he had to give that up. Now, again, when you're that massive, the guy's like, what, 260? Come on. He's an inch shorter than me, and he's like 70 pounds heavier than me at times. You don't want to be putting that kind of strain on your neck. No matter how strong you are, human body is not designed to be abused. You know, it's like no matter how powerful your equipment is, you can still damage it. So that's it. Okay. He hurt his neck. The vegan lady in the UK that looks like a witch. Right, I do it for health, not skinny, yes. I am becoming more like Rick by the day. Dating is a minefield. You know, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to date, but I have to admit, I've never had a good experience with Miami women. And I realized eventually that I'm actually asexual, so I don't care. At this point, I'm fine living by myself. My long-term relationship now is actually with someone that has a lot of fur. So here's my long-term relationship. There you are. Sleepy kitty. There you go. It's just a friendship. That's it. I have a lot of long-term friends. I have at least 4 friends that I've known for more than 40 years. So I'm not a bad guy. If I was a bad guy, I'd have no friends. But yes, dating is like a minefield, and you have to realize everybody's looking for an upgrade. Every girl you date is going to want to have someone who's either richer than them, or better looking, more popular, or whatever. And in today's social media world, a lot of the women, they think that they're better than anybody else. And that's the problem. Now, if you live in an Amish community, maybe that's not the case. Maybe you're an Amish person and you have a limited choice over there. You'll find some Amish gal. She ain't going to be the prettiest thing in the world, but she can do all the work that you need to, and it'll be a good companion, produce some nice kids. So that might be what you get. But dating, I think, is a waste of time. I have no desire to date. I've never really been on a date. The last time that I tried to have a girlfriend, it was back in the 1980s. So that gives you an indication of how much it is. In fact, the happiest person I know is not even dating a girl. He has a male partner. So I don't know. I guess it all depends on where you're at and who you are. As for me, I like being by myself. That's why I like having a small home surrounded by trees and my ducks and my cats and all the other stuff. Good food to eat. And I'm just waiting out my time here until I have my heart attack, and then I'll be in God's hands, and whatever happens after that is out of my power. That's the end of it. So what I'm trying to do now is use the time that I have and maybe get to know other people. Maybe I can help you. Maybe I can inspire you. Maybe I can disgust you. Maybe you'll look at me and you'll wake up and say, man, I don't want to be like this guy. The guy's a loser. I'm going to rise above that. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get that Lamborghini and all them girls, and I'm going to live in an overpriced condo on Brickell Avenue, and I'm going to tell everybody how good I am, and I'm going to have them sign up for my coaching program so I can take advantage of all the 18 to 24-year-olds and live it up until eventually I get convicted of fraud or my life falls apart, and that's it. And that's what I'll do. So maybe that's what you'll do. So you have your choice. You can be a 56-year-old loser who lives in a broken down house with mold and has a cat, broken down cars, and ducks, or you can be one of the elite influencers that drives around in a different Lamborghini every day, has a brain-dead bimbo on each arm, and lives in an overpriced condo and is going to be happy until the major hurricane comes and hits. In which case, then, if 1926 repeats itself, then you're going to be the guy under the bridge, desperate and sick, and the loser living in the broken down house is going to be the one out there that has power and is trying to figure out how to beam wireless internet to his friend that's 10 miles away. So, but that is an option. And, you know, we all do our thing. We all have our way of living. I share it with you because I'm just trying to show you how I did it. I'm not going to tell anybody what to do. I'm not going to tell you, you need to live like me, because that's not the way I am. All I ask is that you don't interfere with my life. If you can live your life and be happy and not interfere with mine, then we're doing pretty good. Because one day we're all going to kick the bucket, and we're all going to be either barbecued or we're going to be feeding microorganisms or a combination of the two. And that's it. And if you have a belief in God, well then, that's one thing. If you don't have a belief in God, well then, enjoy your bacterial digestion or enjoy that fire, because you won't be around there when they stick you in the oven and they turn you into ashes, and that's it. And I guess another way is just to get enough caustic soda, lye, get a 55-gallon drum, drop somebody in there for a couple of days, and you'll be turned into soap. So one way or the other, you're going to be returned. The molecules that made you up are going to go back into the environment, and you may be waddling around as part of a duck, or you may be a banana growing out in the yard. You never know. Okay, I don't blame you. I gave up on dating as well. Yes. Damn, LOL. Let us know when you catch another iguana, please. Oh, I will. Or resting with Jesus. There you go. See, that's the thing. Hey, Rick, do you have any go-karts? I used to. I used to have several go-karts. I had a go-kart that I made out of an outboard engine. I'll never forget that thing. There was an air-cooled outboard. It was a 2-cylinder, 2-stroke. And that was like the craziest kart in town because it had only one-wheel drive because it was a cheap one. And the thing would do burnouts going in a circle. It was just nuts. I flipped it a couple times. I actually had a roll cage on it. And one time I lost control on my go-kart, and I ended up in some nasty bush that had a bunch of thorns on it. And another time I lost control, and I ended up in the canal. So, yeah, my time on go-karts was, let's just say, dangerous. I actually found one of my old helmets when I was going through the stuff. I don't know if I threw it out. It was cracked. But I did have that. I may have thrown it out. But yeah, and then when I got my 6-wheel ATV, which by the way is still back there, my Atex ST400, I got that as a teenager. I was running around the neighborhood, and every time the cops would try to chase me, I'd go in the canal or through the swamp, and I'd lose them. Because 6-wheel ATVs, they are amphibious. If you've ever watched the show The Banana Splits, they had a theme, tra-la-la-la-la-la-la, and they go riding around in these, what they call banana buggies. Well, that's what I had, and you can only imagine how much fun I had with that. Okay, so, it's 12:07. I think I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to go outside and get some fresh air to get rid of that thing. Oh, here we go, Brook Graves. Part of Florida where Ferrigno lives, maybe that's better. Yes, it is. He has a piece of land and has built his house from scratch. Yeah, that's North Florida. I got a friend that lives up in the Big Bend area of Florida in Calhoun County. He built a place too. I have friends in the Alabama, Florida area. You know, what is that? Not Pensacola, but the part that's by Alabama at the end of Florida. North Florida is a lot better than South Florida because South Florida has been poisoned by too many people. And the worst part about South Florida is we attract riffraff. We attract scammers. We attract all kinds of people that are coming here just to take advantage of others. A lot of foreigners. A lot of times when you see somebody that's been arrested for a scam, they always have a foreign accent because that's basically how it is. Okay. Okay. Wow, he's still live. Go, Rick, go. You know, the only reason I did this, I got dropped off of YouTube. I guess I was speaking too much truth about how the system works and the internet went down. It's not the first time that's happened. But I figured, well, let me restart with the OBS to see if it crashes, and it didn't crash. It actually worked. So the next time that I do a live stream, I'm going to do it with OBS. I have a library of pictures. As you can see, I only have one picture now that I displayed, which was a barbecue place that was in the neighborhood when I was a kid. But next time, I'm going to have a lot more images, and I'm going to see if I can attach some videos. I want to do a video, sort of a live video critique with some of these other YouTube channels. So I have a lot of possibilities, but at least now I know that it works. Okay, Brook Graves, have a wonderful lunch, Rick. Wonderful lunch, Rick. Sorry about that. Yes, I will. I'll get outside, clear my face out, because, again, I'm in a room with a very low humidity. The humidity here is probably 20 or 30% because I have the air conditioner set on 65, which is the way I like it. But being inside in a low humidity environment is not very good, especially for sinuses. But once I go outside, and you'll notice when I do my morning bike rides, I sniffle more than my afternoon bike rides. Once I've gotten that good humid Florida air and the sunshine and all the other things, it clears up and I have no sinus issues whatsoever. That's why a lot of times when I make videos where I sit down, I usually do it in the middle of the day, like around lunchtime, so that way I can speak clearly without sniffling, and that's really good. Okay. Love that car sedan. Oh, that's good. Not sure who it is. Love your lives. Thanks, Rick. Well, I'm glad to be here. And again, I'm not doing it for money because I don't get any money. But I am pretty soon going to have Rick's call-in line. For the first time ever, it'll be live. You'll be able to call my number, which I'm going to put right behind me on the wall over here. I'll print that and I'll stick that in there. And I'm going to use a certain type of text from a TV show that you may remember if for some reason. Oh, look who just popped in. It's Dustin from Keto Simple. Hey, hey. And by the way, tomorrow morning he has his live stream. So if you're here on my little channel and you haven't heard of Dustin, you need to watch him because he likes to drink coffee and he'll talk about different things, and that's good. So that's great. Oh, yeah, the car was in the black and white photo. Yeah, that's from the barbecue place. Yeah, I always recommend, please, if you spend a lot of time watching the large subscriber channels, take some time out and watch us little guys. Although I don't consider myself a little guy because I'm taller than anybody else. But still, in the carnivore community, I got about 3,300 subscribers. That's it, which isn't bad, but that's okay. Okay, have a great day. Yes, have a great day. And again, I'll go outside and, feel better. All right. Dustin is cool. Yes, he is. And also, if you haven't seen Dustin, you may not be, or maybe you're aware of his friend. His friend, Chris Cooking Nashville. He's the king of the fake duck food. What he does, he takes real food and he makes fake duck food. So that's good. And, people say, Rick, why would you want to worry about fake duck food? You're a carnivore. You don't eat duck food. Because I have friends that eat duck food. And this is the key. Some of these people criticize. There's one guy that criticized him. Oh, you're making fake foods and you're a carnivore. You should eat meat, raw meat, and drink water. Well, guess what? That's nonsense. Because most people like duck food. They just don't think of it as duck food. So if you can make carnivore-based foods that are similar to what they're used to, maybe it'll wake them up and they go, you know what? I would go carnivore, but my kids don't like it. But what if you can make foods that are carnivore that taste like other foods? Maybe the kids will like it. Then they'll start to explore and they'll say, hey, maybe I want to grow up and look like Anthony Chaffee or Sean Baker instead of Michelle the vegan, or what's the other guy's name? Neil Barnard, or his buddy Michael Greger. I mean, seriously, the guy's 4 or 5 years younger than me and he looks like my dad. Well, even my dad didn't look that bad. And he writes a book. This has to be an April Fool's thing. The book is How Not to Die or How Not to Age. Wow. Can you imagine buying a book from him, How Not to Age, and then you look like that? That's incredible. All right. And Up Syndrome says, it's just a test. Stays around for an hour. There you go. And Dustin says, you're YouTube famous, Rick. Infamous is more like it. I may be known on YouTube, but you don't see them inviting me to all the major channels. They're like, nope, this guy's a quack. We do not want him on our channel because he's going to cause our subscriber base to decrease. But the good guys always mention me. So you'll see a lot of times, well, Charger Mopar Rick, he eats iguanas, or he eats ducks, or he cooks his food in lard or tallow, or when he fries his eggs, they're swimming in it. So those things, they'll talk about entropy, they'll talk about cats, they'll talk about Mopars, they'll talk about seed oils running your truck. That's pretty much what you'll get on my channel. Okay, and as Dustin rightly says, the goal is to make as many people healthy as possible. That is correct. The goal is not to make everyone a carnivore. That is not the goal. The goal is to offer the carnivore lifestyle as an alternative lifestyle that may help you. I do not believe that everybody will benefit from the carnivore diet. I think some people may actually be worse on the carnivore diet. But the good diet for you is somewhere in between. Whether you're a strict carnivore or whether you're a carnivore that mixes fruit in your carnivore diet, you're okay. If you're Paul Saladino and you're lean, yeah, you may be looking older, but you're feeling good. You're living in a tropical climate like he is, and you want to eat fruit and honey, go for it. Eat fruit and honey. And I'll tell you one thing. If I did eat honey, there's a wild beehive in my backyard that's been here for over 12 years. It's living in an old traffic light pile. It's still there. They were telling me years ago, all the bees are going to go extinct because of the environment. Well, guess what? The wild beehive is still there. I'm going to make a video of that one of these days. But when I move, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to have to move that beehive. So what I'll probably do, I used to play around with bees when I was younger. I might get a suit and screen, and I'll go out there, and I may try to smoke out and recover that hive. I may even move the whole traffic light pile on a pallet wherever I move to and just take the bees with me. So it'd be kind of a shame to wipe them out. So even though I don't eat honey, I do believe that we should have bees. And again, if I ever did play around with honey again, I wouldn't have any problem giving my friends fresh honey. Because again, although I don't use it personally, I don't think it's a bad thing. Now, if you're a diabetic or you have other issues and you want honey and fruit, then I'd say no, don't do it. But it's like my friend that's type 2 diabetic. He's still eating some fruit and his A1C is going down. So the question is, what works for you? And there's only one person that can answer that question. You know who that is? That's you. Not your doctor, not your friends, not your YouTube influencer, nobody. You are it. It's you, the people, that can answer that. It's just like that guy that he had the Duck Food Channel, what is it? The Wolf Pit or whatever, that he eats cheap food or whatever. I think for a while he even tried the carnivore diet. But it's you, the people, that do that. And I see here, the best diet for you is the most healthy one. You can be consistent long term. Yes, Dustin, that's it. That's very good. Love to see the beehive. I'm going to try to show that to you. Now, I got to use a selfie stick or something because the bees they're not really aggressive, but when I get close to them, they start buzzing me. They may be part African bees. You know how they have the killer bees that came here? So they're probably hybrids between African and European honeybees. But they are in the backyard. They're in the scrap pile over there by the old traffic light pile. And that's it. And it says, Rick, honey is good for wounds and skin. I mean, they even mentioned that in the Bible. Honey is basically sugar. It's fructose and glucose with a few bacteria maybe mixed in. But most of the time, because there's no water in it, it doesn't support the growth of bacteria. And I know my dad used to use honey. When I get sore throats as a kid, he used to give me honey. The problem is it never made it any better. It made it worse. I suffered a lot of sore throats when I was a kid. And it was really, they were talking about having tonsils removed and all this other stuff. Thank goodness I didn't go for that. I really am grateful that when I turned 15, I went to the carnivore diet. I took it for granted. I never realized how many problems I could have had with all the cavity. I had 2 cavities when I was younger. I had problems with my throat. I had gum issues. You know, I used to get the bleeding gums, and I had to use the floss and all that. It was not good. It was not a pleasant experience. And believe it or not, as a kid, I was more susceptible to bumps and bruises than I am now. I bump into stuff, I get cut all the time. When I was a kid, mosquitoes used to bother me, and I used to get bumps and all that from it. It just wasn't good. But again, I'm going to show you pictures of when I was a kid. I found some of my old photo albums. Most of my photo albums are in the old safe, which doesn't open anymore. For some reason, I have the combination, and it turns freely, but it doesn't open. So I'm going to try to do is spray diesel in it to loosen it up. But if that doesn't work, we're going to have to do some drilling. I'm going to have to figure out where the lock mechanism is on a Mosler safe and drill some holes in it, and that's it. Okay. Look, part 2. I know they took out my tonsils at 2. Tonsils are important. And I think one of the reasons that I still have the sinus issues is because that's my line of defense. Whenever I'm exposed to an allergen, can you imagine if I didn't have the sinuses or tonsils, where would it go next? Probably into my lungs. And I've never had bronchitis. I've never had pneumonia. And I've had some pretty bad flus. And I know people that have bacterial and viral pneumonia. I've never had that. So I think it's a blessing. To have the nuisance of having to sniffle every now and then is nothing. That to me is like a blessing. I'd rather have that than suffer the horrible sore throats, the breathing issues, and then have to deal with my friend that almost died from bacterial pneumonia. Of course, he's the one that has type 2 diabetes, but he was put through a lot. And he started having problems after 50. After 50 seems to be the time. By the age of 55, most people have heart issues or they have diabetes. That seems to be a problem. So thank goodness I didn't have that. Okay. And Dustin says, I had my tonsils removed when I was a kid too. Not sure what they do. See what I mean? They were going to do that. They didn't do it. They were also going to put braces on my teeth, but they were going to pull out the wisdom teeth. They said that all young people have to have their wisdom teeth pulled out. And guess what? I didn't have to have mine pulled out. They came in just fine. Now, the back ones on the bottom are crooked. They're what they call impacted. So instead of coming in straight, they came in sideways. But the upper ones, they came in perfect. And I after watching the Kevin Stock, who, by the way, is extremely good looking. I mean, this is another guy that most guys would want to look like. I mean, he did a bike riding video. He made like a music video. It was kind of funny. And I was joking. I said, nobody wants to see me without a shirt riding a bike. They'd call the police on that. But on the other hand, you see, they talk about how the carnivore diet helps your dental issues, and I believe it has. I stopped going to the dentist in 1986, and believe me, I can only imagine. My dad and my mom had cavities and tooth issues. I know a lot of people that have had dental work. That's another thing that I think I avoided by being carnivore. Anyway, okay. So, again, I'm going to try to cut off before I set another world record. Now, I can't because my stream was broken. Now, next week, I should be at the regular time, again, 8 o'clock on Saturday. And I have to admit that, what is this? They told me getting my tonsils removed would make me more handsome as an adult. They lied. Oh, there you go. And again, when it comes to being handsome and looks, only maybe 10% of people out there are going to be handsome when they're younger. And when you get older, you're all going to be ugly anyway. So if you're ugly to start with, that's fine. It's like comedians. Comedians usually live longer than anybody else, and they're usually the ugly people. The people that are in the celebrity status for their good looks, they tend to have a meltdown as soon as the looks go away, and then their life self-destructs. That seems to be pretty common. Okay. How many times do you reuse your lard for making heart attack chicken and turkey? Generally, it goes by temperature and color. I've used it as many as 20 times in the past, sometimes as few as 5 times. The secret is don't overheat it. If you start to smoke your lard or tallow, you've reduced its life at least 50%. I go by color. As long as it remains white or cream colored, it's really fresh. When it starts to become beige color, it's almost ready, and if it becomes brown, it's only good for soap. Now, the great thing is, after you've used your lard or tallow, you have basically burned off all of the animal things in it, so it's not going to smell like lard or tallow. And then when you use it for soap, it's going to make you sort of a tan or brown colored soap bar, which is pretty nice. So I've had really good success with homemade soap. I did make a couple of videos on it, but they were not that detailed. Once I get enough wood ashes going, I'm going to make another soap making video from start to finish. Once I can get my computer where it'll actually edit videos without crashing, I have a series of videos I want to make. Okay, thank you. Yes, and I see the message from DS11 was retracted. But anyway, so yeah, I just hope that everybody's been having a good day, and I hope I haven't bored you too much with my stream. And pardon the sniffling, because it's just the way that I am. There's nothing I can do about that. And hopefully next week at the regular time, I'm going to add some pictures. I may even add a video to it. I may do another test during the week to see if the video works. But I have a lot of things I want to do. And now that the OBS is working, you're going to see some additional things added to my video. And there's some videos I want to record that are actually pretty good. I have a lot of things. I come up with ideas, especially when I'm working. I try to dictate it into my recorder, and then I can write up a script for it. There's a lot of videos I want to make. Problem is, YouTube's my hobby. I don't get paid for this, so I just have to do it in my spare time. So anyway, there was 19 people here. I don't know how many people are there now. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Let's see, what is this? My dental exams improved when I went carnivore. Now I only go once a year. I'm a good patient, I said to one of the staff. Why I had not been around lately. She smiled. There you go. And a good sense of humor goes with the carnivore lifestyle. It's like the whole heart attack diet lifestyle. It's a sense of humor. You take what people tell you and you turn it against them. You're going to have a heart attack. Good, I'm going to have a heart attack. That's what we do. So anyway, I look forward to catching you next week. I'll probably be on the live with DC on Sunday because he usually has one there. And then next Tuesday, I should be on the live with Russ, my friend, in the Keto Cookout. And I see someone, Brooke Graves says there's 14 in chat. So I'm not going to be gone. You should see me tomorrow and Sunday. And then you'll also see me on Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time in Russ Mitchell's Keto Cookout. I am the comedy relief. Well, actually, he's comedy too, so it's like a comedy channel. And there is a link on there. If you want to join in, you can click the StreamYard link and join in with us. And we'll be glad to talk to you, answer your question, whatever. We have a few regulars. I know Peter, Proper Carnivore, Thomas, Target Prime Rib. We've had other people come in there. You get the Dr. Nelson. People like to join in. You're welcome to join in if you want. And in the meantime, I'm going to say goodbye and keep on.